Before episode 6 of Agatha All Along airs tonight, I am going to try to go through as much as I can the very long and complicated history of Billy and Tommy Maximoff in the comics, the sons of the Scarlet Witch and Vision. Hopefully you watch all the way to the end, like, share, comment, interact for the all-gay rhythm, because this video is going to be a little lengthy. Buckle in. Before we even get to Wanda and Vision, we have to go back to Fantastic Four issue number 277, where the Fantastic Four were kidnapped by the demon Hell Lord Mephisto. To make a very long story less long, they were able to escape Mephisto, and due to the immense power of their child, Franklin Richards, Mephisto was essentially destroyed. Even though Mephisto was destroyed by Franklin Richards, Doctor Strange says, "But so long as evil remains in the hearts of men, I fear it will not be long before he is reborn." Then jump 7 months later to November of 1985 with the release of Vision and Scarlet Witch issue number 3. Vision is discussing with Wanda, his wife, that he wants to one day have kids, and Wanda's basically saying, like, that's impossible because you're a synthezoid, and the only way we can have kids is if we adopt. And Vision's trying to convince her that nothing is impossible for the Scarlet Witch. Well, also during that time, Agatha Harkness was unalived by the Salem 7. Wanda would tap into an ancient power coming from a mountain to defeat the Salem 7 with the help of the ghost of Agatha Harkness, and with that extra boost in power, she was able to get pregnant and give birth to twin sons, Billy and Tommy Maximoff. Now, if you're wondering, what does that have to do with Mephisto being destroyed by Franklin Richards? Well, as powerful as Wanda is, she can't just create life out of nothing. So when Franklin Richards destroyed Mephisto, his soul was scattered around, and Wanda took two aspects of Mephisto's soul and created, without her knowing, unconsciously created her two sons. So her two sons are aspects of Mephisto's soul. Well, enter an agent of Mephisto, Master Pandemonium, who was sent to retrieve the souls of Billy and Tommy Maximoff so Mephisto can reconstitute himself and become whole once again. So because of that, Billy and Tommy were essentially destroyed. They were reabsorbed back into Mephisto, and to prevent any agony or future heartache with Wanda, Agatha Harkness erased Wanda's memory of ever having twins. The only ones that knew the truth were the Avengers. It was in 1985. We then jumped decades later to 2004 with Brian Michael Bendis' Avengers Disassembled event, where Janet Van Dyne accidentally let it slip that Wanda had two twin sons, because she's talking to Scarlet Witch about how the Avengers should never have children, and you tried to have two. That then sets off a whole chain of events where Wanda investigates to try to find out the truth. She ends up unaliving Agatha Harkness. She also attacks the Avengers and is the reason that they disband, creating the whole Avengers Disassembled event, culminating to the famous House of M storyline where she eventually utters "No more mutants." We then jump to 2005 with a new team of teenage superheroes calling themselves the Young Avengers. At this time, it was made up of Wiccan, who was calling himself Asgardian at that time, Iron Lad, Patriot, and Hulkling. They then eventually expanded their ranks and added a new member of the team known as Tommy Shepard. And it was a weird coincidence that Tommy and Teddy looked exactly alike. Cassie Lang said, "Whoa, you guys could be twins." But eventually find out in Avengers Children Crusade that Billy Kaplan and Tommy Shepard are the reincarnated souls of Billy and Tommy Maximoff, reborn into two separate parents. So biologically, Wanda is not their mother, but spiritually she is, because she's the one that created their souls. And their souls were so altered by what she did. When Mephisto tried to reabsorb them, he couldn't. And despite kind of having her children back, Wanda has a bit of depression when it comes to her children and finds it somewhat both joyful and hard to be around them. We find this out in the Scarlet Witch solo series when she's talking to her therapist, where he says to her, "You're their mother, and yet you barely speak of them. You rarely see them. They certainly don't seem an important part of your life." And she says, "It's difficult to deal with, Dr. Grand. I still wrestle with that one. They were the reincarnated spirits of my dead children, babies that I created when I was married to the Vision." He then goes on to say they weren't human, really. Their souls were part of a demon. It's very horrible and confusing, and something I try not to think about. The baby's souls died and I was bereft. So much occurred after that. The Avengers, my uttering the phrase, "No more mutants," all of that happened because of it. And Two boys, one with my abilities and one with the speed powers of my brother appeared. Wiccan and Speed, they call themselves. These two were indeed the reincarnated souls of my sons, but they were teenagers, too old to be my children. Either Billy and Tommy were two normal kids until my son's souls took over their bodies, effectively killing two more innocent lives, or their spirits went back in time, were born from two other mothers more than a decade ago who raised them through childhood while I had nothing to do with it. I would have been a teenager myself when they were born. I know that makes me terrible. It's an answer we still kind of don't have to this day. At one point, they were mutants. Now they're not anymore with the retcon of one. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That's pretty much the complicated history of Billy Kaplan and Tommy Shepard and why they have separate last names, despite the fact that they're twin brothers. But it does kind of make me wonder, though, like, even though they're biologically different because they come from two biological parents, but they physically look the exact same, they have to have somewhat of the same DNA, right? So it makes me wonder, can they donate blood to each other if one of them needed like a blood transfusion? Now, granted, that's getting way too much into realism in a comic book world, but it's definitely something that I feel like a writer should take on and streamline just a little bit more because, yeah, we don't have the answer of if the souls of Billy and Tommy Maximoff did end up unaliving two innocent children, or if they did go back in time and were just reborn into separate families and all that other stuff. And then also the fact that Billy and Tommy have biological parents, but then they also have Wanda, who's their parent, and Vision as well. But one thing I can say, kudos to Vision, because he can't seem to have heterosexual kids because Billy is gay, married to Theodore Teddy Altman, aka Hulkling, and Tommy's bisexual. He was trying to get with Kate Bishop at one point, and for a while was dating Prodigy of the X-Men, but they recently broke up. Which I'm not a fan of the fact that they had them break up, but it is what it is. And Viv Vision is a lesbian. And ironically enough, Virginia Vision, his wife at the time, and Viv's mother, her brain patterns was based off the brain patterns of Wanda, the Scarlet Witch. So basically Vision and Wanda just can't have straight kids, which I'm here for. But anyway, did you know this complicated history between Tommy and Billy? Let me know all your thoughts in the comment section below. What predictions do you have regarding tonight's episode of Agatha All Along? I definitely feel like tonight's episode is going to be a strict flashback episode focusing on Teen, who we now know is Billy Maximoff. So I can't wait. And yeah, like, share, comment, interact for the All Gay Rhythms. This is one of your first time checking out one of my videos. Hopefully check out the other videos on my channel. And welcome to my safe haven.